Good evening, everyone. Strat Gamer here, providing you with a new stream today. Um, I know. So first of all, sorry to everybody for not telling you in advance. I honestly had no idea if I would have time tonight to stream. Plus, with all the bugs that were happening with Wiimote mods and with just the base game, that has been a couple of difficult days. So let's start indeed with this sort of bad news. I mean, if you have had issues with Anno, you're not the only one. I'm showing here the official page where you can see that they are acknowledging that there's a number of issues. In particular, a lot of people have had sort of multiple updates coming and going, like your version, um, going back to older version, losing saves. A lot of people have also been trying to play for free because there was the free weekend starting yesterday, and actually that wasn't working at all for most people. So anyway, yeah, there was definitely a lot of problems. The great news is, as you can see from 3 hours ago, an update saying that the issue related to Ubisoft Plus and the free weekend have not been resolved. So if you still have issues about that, don't hesitate to share in the comments below. I think it'd be good to share if anyone is still experiencing some problem with that. They've also extended the free weekend until September 8th. On my side, at least I know I've definitely experienced some issues. So the actual update 12, which is around 2 gigabytes, was downloaded like 3 different times across 2 days on my computer. I have no idea why. Similarly, got a few saves that disappeared. So I played a couple of times and then disappeared. I did receive a new update. I think it was 270 megabytes or something earlier this evening. And since then, it seems to be working pretty well. So hopefully that's going to be the same for all of you. If it's not, do tell me about it. And lastly, another great news is that Wiimote has also been updated. So if we look at it here, you can see now it is actually working. You can get again your unlimited timber bricks and things like this. Now, if we think about all of the other modes, the mod loader has also been updated, and some of the mods are definitely working. I'll show you that in a second in the game. I do know that some still apparently are not fully working, slash some people are experiencing a few bugs. So I think we'll get a bit more of confirmation in the next few days, on what's working, what's not working. Of course, the mods author also often need, to check, and sometimes they were also waiting for that new DLC to drop to make a bigger update on the mod, like introduce new things. So it's always good to wait a few days after a new release for the mods. But yeah, let's dive into the game. And because of all the issues, haven't been able to really do much. You can see the skyscraper are quite impressive in first-person mode. You still have your quests as always. This guy actually does look a bit scary, to be honest. But yeah, let's come back into the main game. Here we are. And as I was telling you, some of the mods are working. For example, you can see sorry, it's not I didn't make it, but the mode for buildable residence, so to be able to build any residence of any tier, so from engineers and even investors directly, is working. Also, 1 second ago, the mod for the items was also working. Let's check it if I have. Yeah.
Cargo boat at the ready.
God scourges those with
See,
something to hide.
I haven't put the other mod with that unlocks all of the items, but at least this one is still working. So that's all good. Once again, we'll have to, I think, wait a few days before we can really know which mods are working, which one aren't. I have started to develop a few items, a few of the new items. Particularly this one, I think is super impressive. The shopping arcade the workforce 10%, that's not important. What's important is instead of cherry wood, veneers, coconut oil, and steel, and brass, we're only going to use wood, tallow, and iron. So it's basically iron for the steel and brass, the tallow for the coconut oil, and the wood for the cherry wood and wood veneers. That's quite big. That's definitely one I'm going to be using. I can tell you that already. For all of these shopping arcades. Another thing I've been trying to do a bit is, while the game wasn't really working, is really take a strong look at all of these for the department store, but also for the other arcades, the 3 arcades, to know which one I'm gonna use for the record. And right now I'm leaning around for the vacuum cleaner here, because these are 2 investor items that are linked to population, versus this one may be investor items, but this one is population, the light bulb, but the jewelry is not, it's happiness. Similarly here, you have 1 happiness and 1 population. 1 happiness, 1 population, and this is more for scholars, to be honest. Plus the numbers, right? Minus 25% and minus 15, especially when you know how much the Steam carriages can take a space, that's pretty good. And similarly for the other ones, I won't tell you right away, but I've been thinking about it. Okay, so no quest right now, we need to upgrade a few, and this is exactly the save, the last stream we ended exactly here. I didn't do anything. If you remember the end of the last stream, I saved and I just loaded exactly that save here. We can upgrade quite a few. We have the vacuum cleaners, which is the one I actually want. That's unlocked. And do I have all of them? I have wool, and celluloid I don't have yet a lot. I think I've started it, but don't have it a lot. Of course, as I started this stream a bit out of nowhere, I'm not expecting tons of people to join right away, but if you are joining, don't hesitate to leave any message in the chat. Be glad to know who's there, and also, if you have any questions, be it you've been trying the game and you have questions on how to do it, or be it anything else linked to Anno, I'm keen to hear your thoughts and try to help. Okay, so with this new level now, we unlocked 2 new things, the cognac and the furniture store, which is the 2nd arcade. Let's go directly to that one first, so that we can once again look at the shopping catalog. See the banker's lamp, the vanity screen, the writing desk, the 4 poster bed, which is sort of your Arctic one, and your lounge seating, which is your Ambessa one. There's always sort of 3 basic one, an Arctic one, and an Ambessa one. So if you're thinking, about a population record that's based mainly on engineers, or on investors, sorry, sort of old world space, these 2 at the bottom are really interesting actually, because you're gonna need goods which are in other regions, which are in regions that may not be that useful for your investors. But at the same time, then when you look at the bonuses, they are often not the best one, especially the Ambessa one is almost always linked to the scholars, which is not what we want. What we want is to decrease the consumption of our investors. So that's a bit of a problem. This one actually does link to investors, so it may be indeed interesting. The only thing is that, the numbers are not huge, especially for the light bulb. And the second is that those things actually are not that easy to produce tons of it. So I haven't done all of the math yet between the 4 poster bed and the other one that's, in my opinion, really interesting at this point is actually the banker's lamp, mainly for the light bulb. It's not really for the jewelry, mostly for the light bulb, and 25% is quite interesting. Also because with the item that we saw just before, we won't be using brass, we'll be using just iron, which is pretty easier. And then using a few light bulbs, but you're decreasing it by a lot. And given that you have to deliver light bulbs anyway to the island, you know, that's going to be something we will have on any island. So that's all good. This one is also not too bad, especially on this for the seagulls, 20%. But it does require few elements, in particular the lacquer. It needs a few things. If you look here, you know, the lacquer will require the ethanol, plus also the resin, which is in your old world, and the sand. So once again, for that one, for the furniture store, that's actually the one where I'm a bit unsure. I haven't decided fully yet which one we'll use. This is also what's, in my opinion, really great about this new DLC. There's a lot of possibilities, a lot of new things to consider. So that's great. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's like a whole new game, but yeah, there's definitely a lot to consider and think through. So we can also see, of course, the different ways to unlock all of this. This is linked to, I mean, the story. We need to provide banker's lamp to an engineer skyscraper, and then we're gonna have a new story. This one, the writing desk, is linked to the banker lamp too. That shouldn't be too hard. This one is, we need to deliver a bear and feather, so those two things, to an old world island. And then lastly is 2 additional rider towers. We can definitely do that one quickly if we want. For now, let's select this.
This is sure to
And
please
as
many
I said, let's actually
customers.
start using the item that we just unlocked.
Yes,
Sorry.
please.
Which is, where is the guy? This woman, sorry, actually, Belinda. And we'll see that now instead of brass, this is iron. That's pretty cool. And also here. So that's all good here. We have now this first one unlocked, or will be unlocked quite soon as soon as it's delivered from over there. So let's focus now on the cognac. The cognac does require a few elements, 2 different ones. It starts with your vineyards for grapes, then sherrywood, which is one of the new orchard in the old world. That's important, it's not one in the new world, it's in the old world. And lastly, sugar, that does need to come from the new world. You can't even export that, right? In the dog
down to the country.
dog
Sort
plan.
of shooting.
Take a quick look. I mean, we can look at it here. You know, there's no sugar here, no sugar there, no sugar, no sugar. Yeah, many of the new world things, right? Tortillas, plantains, coffee, even chocolate, cigars, but no sugar. And lastly, you know, I don't see any sugar anywhere. If I missed it, tell me, but I don't think so. And actually, you can see this is the new one. Corn wasn't there before, now it is. Okay, now, so we have the sherry, as you can see, 4 on the island, so that's all good. We don't have vineyards, so let's build that quickly, maybe in a corner somewhere. Let's do it
Of
here.
course, my gallery
This
in
is
Banneret is the best.
what
Let's keep it that
we
way.
talked about
The
earlier.
lamps are old news. We need a
Yeah,
new
we
bestseller.
like this
We could
one.
even
Let's-
ask the customers.
I want vineyards are quite, you need quite a few because it's 2 minutes per vineyard. That's definitely something where you need a few. That's not good. I'm losing. Obviously, this is very quick and dirty. Yeah, you know that from. We are not doing here at the record yet. We're just discovering this new DLC, trying to unlock everything so that we can make our calculations. This is not about beauty building. This is definitely not about having everything perfect right away. If you know, you've seen or heard already of some record builders that have made great things, don't hesitate to share. I'd love to check it out. I definitely would have loved to have had more time these days to dive more into it, and you know, to already be able to give you all of the answers. But we're definitely not there, unfortunately, yet. But that will come. I'm not worried. You know, the record builders are not for us. The goal is not to finish everything on day one. The goal is to, at the end of the day, be the one with the most
Clearly, a
with
quality
the
lamp.
most population or whatever we want to get the most of. I know that Fox, another great YouTuber, is making good progress too. And the interesting thing is that we're actually diverging a bit on what we're gonna do in this record, because as you may remember, I've said that I'm going to at least try at the beginning to do without anything in you know, the record won't be based on the Dockland. I'm not gonna use any export import for the record, whereas he's actually thinking to use it for the old world, provide all of the goods in the new world, I think, if I understood correctly. That's already gonna be showing a bit of differences. Also, he seems pretty adamant on using the administration department on all of these, you know, invest on the island. So this one, which will give some workforce, and also is gonna use the 30% reduced need, which does reduce for chocolate, chewing gum, and biscuit. Whereas on my side, I'm actually pretty convinced I want to use the welfare to have a larger influence of public buildings, and also to use the 20% drinks reduction, which will help with coffee, champagne, and cognac. The cognac that we're looking at right now, and most importantly, the coffee in the new world, because I think that's gonna be a bit of an issue. So yeah, so now we have our cognac, and the only thing we're missing is the sugar at this point. We have a good reserve of cherry. We have now a number of, maybe let me just put one more to be, and it's not because I think we need it, it's more so that it's built, like the stock goes quickly. And now we do need sugar, and so for sugar we are building it in a chocolate base. Actually, I don't think I have any reserve. Oh no, I do have some reserves. That's great. Perfect. Perfect. So do we also have any ships? Yes, we do. Perfect. Loving it. So let's take some and send to the Cape right away. I will though build a few more, because I'm pretty sure we don't have enough to sustain this for a while. Let's actually put two. And I will also put a minimum on it, because I do still want to keep some for my chocolate. Still making chocolate.
Cargo stations.
Yeah. So easy to make a few more quick and dirty.
Securing their expertise.
Up. Go to the chocolate space. Where can put them? Let me put that first. Yeah. Maybe two. Just to be once again on the safe side. Let's make 4. 1, 2, 3.
Stand aside,
Yeah.
boss.
So in terms of the record, one element that I'm definitely thinking about is to just start with the coffee, because the coffee does bring a lot of population to your investor houses, and then based on how much space will be left after the coffee, I'm also going to decide what I do with the chocolate, because actually the chocolate doesn't bring a lot of investors for the space that it's taking. I'll show you that in a second. Go back to the Cape and to one of our house anywhere. We can take this for example. See, the coffee is 8 investors versus the champagne is only 3. Sorry, not the champagne, the chocolate is only 3. And champagne is also 3. And that is with the bonus resident. Now, if I even take out this bonus resident, because I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna put instead, is the coffee is still 8, but then the chocolate. Oh, wait. Oh, it's because I'm on level 3, so I think this one is only 2. So that's a big difference. Now, if we look at this one, still 8. Why is this 7? Oh, it's the panorama effect. Yes. So for the panorama effect, it does actually impact the champagne, cigar, chocolate, steam carriages, and electricity. So that's where. Okay, so actually we're gonna need chocolate, ladies and gents, because coffee won't be impacted, and this is only a weak one. When we move to a big impact, a panorama impact, and to do that, something we can do is all these. Here, if I do this, and then I separate this, full, perfect, it's full. So now you can see it is actually 25 for each. So now the chocolate, the coffee is still 8, but now the chocolate is 27. So actually, yeah, we're gonna need chocolate because of course we want to use the panorama effect as much as possible. I'm not saying we're gonna have panorama effect on all buildings because that's just impossible, but we definitely want to have it as much as possible. And that's something I'm very keen to do quite soon, is try to really see what is the best setup. If you're saying you have let's say a new island, and an investor island only, like this one.
Your city has grown more beautiful.
What is the setup? Do you do 5, 4, 4, 5, or do you do something different? We're gonna need to do a few tests on this. Another thing where I definitely still need to test is, the level 3, for example, here is 125. Now level 4 is gonna be more, level 5 is gonna be more, but they're also going to require more items more buildings, like the drugstore is gonna come later, but also more items like the violin, the toys, and all of those items to produce them is also gonna take space. So, when you're min-maxing, is it better to have a few, let's say, for example, 100 level 5, which will take you, making this up, but will take you, for example, 50,000 tiles to do all of the needs that you need to fulfill their needs? Or is it better to actually have more, so instead of 100, maybe 200 level 3, that takes the same space but could have more population? That's definitely something where we need to do a bit of math to get there. Now the cognac is still not working, because I think we need to wait a bit for the sugar to arrive. So while we're waiting for that, of course, if anybody is watching, don't hesitate to share any comments, questions that you may have. One thing I did want to do right away is actually research a new item that's going to help us, or at least I wanted to show you. I think it's called Blue Sky. Yeah, So blue skies are those 3 items, and they are the new items for residences outside of the hotels. As you can see, they affect all skyscrapers. And I mean, those 2 rare ones are, this one is not rare, to be honest. Maintenance cost -10, fire, illness, riot. It's good for, let's say, it's good if you want to make the game a bit simpler, but for record, it's not gonna aid me at all. This one is fairly interesting because it brings a lot of happiness and a lot of residence. It's +5 for each of the new goods. So if I'm not mistaken, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So 45 residents, which is something. I mean, it's basically it's basically the same the same number of residents as an investor house, basic investor house, which is 50. But the problem is +15 maintenance cost is actually going to be a lot, because when you get to level 5, that's quite significant. So that's definitely something to take into account, and that's why I don't think I'm going to be using this one. I do need to do a bit of math on this one, but we'll see. Now, the one that we will use, I'm pretty sure, I think if you do want to do a record, is this one. It does increase the maintenance costs. So instead of 15, it's 10 now, which is just a bit better. It also brings happiness, less, but still some. What's very important is actually the bonus supply. Because as long as you have your department store, furniture store, and drugstore, which we're gonna have, because honestly, they don't take that much space, and they decrease the needs by quite a lot, like 10%, 20%. So they're really good, like the stores. And as soon as you have those stores, you actually, the houses are provided with chewing gum, billiard tables, and violin. And these are quite, I mean, first of all, so that's 3 goods, right? It's if we compare to some of the items that even were legendary before, this one was only giving you cigar. This one was only giving you champagne. And now this new thing is giving you 3 goods at once. So that's pretty good. And on top of that, I mean, these aren't, we haven't even unlocked the violin, but these aren't the simplest good. If we look at the chewing gum, you already need 3 different things, all from the new world, so that's gonna take a lot of space in the new world. Plus you also need the chewing gum factory, where you can't really do that without workforce, so you're gonna need people. And that's the same for the other one. I mean, you can see we haven't unlocked them yet, which means they're gonna be even more complex. So 3 of those goods, that's pretty good. So let's actually make sure we do research it right away, so I can show you. I can show it to you in action. Let's make a couple. It'll be always useful. And the cognac is still not there. So while it is, we can check that quest here, where we need to click on a couple of these people to understand what they want. This is a market study, basically. How do you perceive a brand? How can I put it? It's very fancy and grand, but also expensive and intimidating. Okay, so we need to be more open. Then let's see the next one. How could your current situation be improved right now? A drink. Oh, okay, I work in an office and we are shoulder to shoulder. That's just no privacy. And hi Leo, thanks for joining. Hope you like this episode and on this date. If you have any questions or suggestions, keen to hear what everybody else is thinking about this DLC, which I'm really loving so far, despite all of the bugs and problems we are having. I think we'll forget about that, so that's fine.
How you put
I
up
missed
with
the
it
last
on
one.
the daily is beyond.
That's not that
Let's skim the
important.
results.
Let's
Pick our
check.
best seller.
Market research are in. Furniture quality and a drink minibar. Actually, I'd like to hear what Theodora has to say. Yeah, why not? It'd be nice to have. What do you think? Well, I method of analysis screwed the results. I mean, true by percentage you uncovered. Well done. Personalize the skyscraper, provide little privacy. Okay, maybe a vanity screen, that's indeed privacy. And for luxury, it's hard to define a single product. Function, personalization, and affordability. Yeah, I want a new product. Yeah, let's do it. I think I didn't. I mean, there's no right or wrong in this. This is an optional quest. But yeah. Life is quite the eye. Let's go with this one. Oh, creative. See the poster. Okay, what do they have for us? Oh, a cat. Galleria Badalot. Okay.
2 birds, 1 cartridge. A
And
brand
it
new
is
patent
unlocked.
and a dazzling poster
I need
advertising.
to equip it
While
to
Miss
finish
Jenny
that
runs
quest.
the posters round town,
Let's
us
do
big
it.
dogs can crank
I'm
up
not sure
production
we
to meet
actually
a
have.
deluge of
Yeah,
demand.
we have any of this. So I hope they don't ask us. Yeah, that's fine. Oh no, they do. We do need to keep 70%. So now you're seeing also again the impact of the item. This is gonna use wood instead of the cherry wood. So that's pretty nice. But we are missing the
posters
lacquer
are up.
and the
Can't be
cotton,
missed.
which is in the new
I
world.
gave Miss Jenny some time off. She didn't look her usual self.
Let's see what are we doing here. Okay, so now this one has stopped and the cognac still hasn't started. Oh, I am actually sorry, I wasn't the fastest. That's why. Where is my sugar? Yes, there's definitely things in it, and the first one is coming here. So that's great. The cognac is gonna come. The problem is we don't have what we need here, and in
Between empty
particular,
shelves,
lacquer
I
and
see
cotton.
customers wandering,
We're gonna need
searching,
ethanol.
yearning.
We're gonna need resin, which we don't have, and sand, at least we do have. We're gonna need that anyway for future goods, so it's fine to build it, but before that I want to make sure that ethanol is coming and that also the cotton is coming in. That's gonna take longer. I saw one, where is that going? It's going to the old world, okay. Otherwise we could also, as I said, I'm not gonna use it for the record, the end game, but right now goal is just to make it simple for everybody, so why not use that as much as possible. We said we wanted cotton, where is it? Cotton fabric, I meant. Perfect. That is all good, 800. So now we just need to focus on the resin. And do we have ethanol here? Yeah, that'll be easier to see. I do have some, so it's starting to come. So then let's just focus first on our orchard, and then we can move to building the lacquer chemical plant. By the way, oops, that is not what I want to do. Show me out this. Nodes. And okay, then just the lacquer. We're gonna need electricity for this one, so why not here? Don't think we're gonna need a lot. Let's do Okay, so now we should be good. Maybe the ethanol is gonna be missing at some point. But for now, let's keep it as is. Okay. We could also start having more. Just for the that called for the monuments. You know, we're gonna need. I think it's 7. Is it 70? I don't. In the technical test, I think it was 70, but maybe that has changed. And right now, as I said earlier, there's no panorama effect in play, and we're not really using it. I think that would be maybe an episode tomorrow or the day after. Another thing that I'm keen to do as soon as possible is what I described in a previous stream around testing this item which creates more ethanol. Oh, what is the name? For drinks, all drinks production. Yeah, this one. Get rich quick, which is my my motto in life for sure. Volume 4, the wasteland. It works on all of the chemical plants, the artisan workshop, but also all drinks factory. So I'm very keen to actually try it and compare between the the normal production of ethanol, right, which comes from wood and corn in the New World, versus having that production as a byproduct. And in particular, I think the one that could be quite interesting is champagne, because we're gonna need to make champagne for all those investors. So while we're making champagne, if we can have this item and have 1 out of 4 ethanol, I'm keen to see, you know, if that's a more efficient way to do it or not. So we'll have to test that. As I said, I haven't had time yet to do those calculations, but we'll definitely do that as soon as possible. And maybe we can actually start that while we're waiting, except if anybody has any question, then only stay to put it in the chat. Otherwise, maybe we do start, yes, by... So there's a couple of ways to do those calculations. You know, some could be to do it in the game. Others could be to do it just purely on an Excel sheet. I think we're gonna do a bit of both. Yes. The first element to look at is, you know, the base production. We'll need chemical plant ethanol, which will require 125 obreros. So, you know, when you start an island from scratch, you may get 200 obreros maximum. Yeah, Georg Resus, the remote is working actually. Let me show you. It was updated something like 2 or 3 hours ago by now, and it is working. So definitely don't hesitate to start reusing it again if you are, especially in a time like this where you're just trying to discover a new DLC. I think it's totally fair to use something like this. I know some people hate and think this is completely cheat. I think everybody does whatever they want and everybody will be happy. Anyway, so going back to the ethanol, you know, it's, first of all, it's clear that to do that base production, we're gonna need population of obreros. That's gonna take space, that's gonna take production. We're also gonna need wood and lumberjack. Lumberjack for the wood and corn farms for the corn. One thing to look at is there any items? You know, in particular for the chemical plant, is there a way to reduce chemical plant ethanol to reduce, you know, the workforce and things like this? So you can see these ones are items that you will only get once from the quest. You'll either get this one, that one, or this one. So let's ignore them because that's not sustainable. So the only one that you may use is actually this one, which increases the workforce, not decreases it. So that's not going to help that much. On the other hand, for the corn, we did start an island in the past, if you remember here. So for the corn, you know, it's sort of a basic good. You'll be able to put great items and have no workforce. So corn really, I don't think is going to be the problem. Of course, we need to calculate, you know, how many squares, how many tiles it's going to take, and all of this. The wood actually is a bit more of a problem. It's one of those resources that I don't like that much because there's a lot. I feel there's a lot of low space. You'll never get you know, perfect setups. Even when you put trade unions and you increase the you know, the forest density so you can put more in a small space, I do feel it's never really optimized versus for the farms like corn. You can go to all corners of those maps and really, you know, take advantage of that. So the wood I definitely don't love. The good thing about the wood is you can produce it in many different regions. Now, if we look at more of the other ways, there's, the way I see it, there's two main ways to be able to use that item, which actually maybe we should also research. So let's do it that way. It will be ready when we want to use it. We said it's drinks or drinks production. This one. So yes, as I was saying, I think there's two main production. The first one would be schnapps. And it's quite easy. It's potato to schnapps 3. There's quite a few items there too. And but the problem is we're not really gonna use that schnapps. So that's almost like a waste resource, except, I mean, we could sell it, of course, but that's the only thing we're going to do with it. Versus champagne, this one our investors are going to need, right? I mean, even if we put in all town hall the Aristelia, which does provide the neat champagne for free, we know that in sort of a, you know, when you do a record, when you do an island like this, you never have perfect coverage of your town halls. If you go to, where is the town halls? I always forget. Engineering. Am I missing it? Yes. As you can see, for example, on this island, and there's no coverage there, no coverage there, and no coverage here. Yeah, it's never 100%. So we're gonna need champagne in any case. Maybe not that much, but still some. So why not use that production for it? The other reason why I sort of really like champagne as a production chain for records is the vineyards. I don't need vineyards. We can produce vineyards by many ways. I'll show you that. And then sand is your arbor area, right? That's where you can't put any houses anyway. So usually it's sort of low space. That's fine. Of course, we do need to transform the sand into glass makers. But there's also a few items for this one. So that's not too hard. And as I was saying, for the vineyards, there's many ways to get it, either than like without having any vineyards. And in particular, if I go to my coffee island, because we know we're gonna need to produce a lot of coffee, we are gonna put probably everywhere the horticulturalist, which produces grape at 1 to 13. 1 to 13 may seem like not that much, but given that we're gonna need to produce, you know, something like, I mean, if we want to reach, for example, 4 million investors, we're gonna need I think it's 2,400 coffee per minute. So we're gonna need a lot of coffee, and therefore, even at 1 to 13, that's gonna make a lot of grapes for free. So if we have those grapes for free, it's gonna be a lot easier to do the champagne then.
Not the
New orders?
biggest contract I've
Let's
executed.
take a quick look at where we are now. Okay, so the cognac is good now. The problem is we still don't have fabric. I guess because our friend Tobias came, we didn't do this. And now that Wiimote is reworking again, let me re-put a few of these basic things. I want some chocolate. I want some coffee. Just to make sure that the engineers are happy. Just doing the whatever engineers need. They're producing way enough of that, so that's fine. Maybe let's put a few light bulbs. That should be fine. We're good on this. Oh, champagne. I don't have a machine. I'm not producing champagne. Yeah, we're at it. Let's put more glasses. And let's finally put some champagne. We have some stocks. Okay. So here it is, ladies and gents, to do. And one thing we actually didn't look at is engineers. We didn't push them to level 3 yet. And that's because we're still missing these new cotton. But while we're at it, let's also do 3 more engineers. One of the reasons why I'm upgrading quite a few is so that maybe tomorrow or the day after, whenever I can, I find some time to play, I can start doing some calculations on, and some tests on all of these, and in particular on the panorama effect. It's important to have quite a few for the panorama effect to be able to test that. That is why I'm building quite a few, if you were wondering. And well, yeah, we're just still waiting for a finish, so I almost want to meet. So let me just put back now banker's lamp, and then we can push them to the next level, level 4. And when they're real level 4, we can go back to the vanity prints, and by that time, hopefully, we'll also be ready. We'll also have what it takes to make it. Now, this we definitely have enough of this. Should also just put, simplify everything. I'm gonna need a third one, which I probably want to put here. That should be enough space. Okay. We can test because all of these buildings are multi-factories, so they're all the same size. There I can definitely check. Yes, that's fine. Yes. This is the space for the drugstore, which will be unlocked later. I think it's when we get 15 level 4, if I'm not mistaken, which would be fine. We definitely have, as soon as basically this is done and we get to 125, we'll get to 15. There's enough there for sure. Okay. I see we're getting a few more likes, a few more people joining, so it's great to see everyone. Don't hesitate to put a quick message in the chat so I can see who's there. Don't hesitate to share what you've been able to do on your side. I don't know if you've had time to already get to level 5, if you had time to do the monuments. It doesn't take that long. I've just not been able to play at all. Oh, Fox, great to see you. I was mentioning you earlier. I don't know if you were there already, around all of the different recipes that we need to choose from to get the best outcome possible, and also around the Dockland and what's gonna be the limit and all those type of things. Don't hesitate to share in the chat if you have any thoughts or any comments for everybody. I think you already reached level 5 and all of this, but here we're not there yet. Okay, so now that's starting. That will be quickly hopefully to 125. Potentially what we can start in the meantime is what we were talking about earlier. What's the space that's gonna be needed? And if we compare the space for ethanol in the new world versus the space in the old world, and to do that, the important thing is to only consider the space that is, let's say, usable space. So for example, I'm not gonna count the sand mines that are harbor area, or we're not gonna count the vineyard that we're getting for free in the new world. We're only gonna count glassmakers and the champagne cellar. The important thing though is to make sure whatever production you have sort of gets to the same number. There's also one element that's going to be on the limit, right? If we are using this production chain where we have 3 vineyards and we're using the ports. Oh, shame. Sorry to hear, folks. I also had, as I said at the beginning, I don't know if you heard it, several saves that just disappeared. So really a shame if you can't load your save anymore. That's really bad. I also had to download the 2 gigabyte update like 3 different times over the last 3 days. That's you're definitely not the only one there. But it's bad to hear that it's still happening to you tonight when Ubisoft said that apparently it was fixed 3 hours ago. So that's quite bad. I guess important to also make sure Ubisoft knows about that and that they don't stop working on it. Okay, so for the champagne, it's also going to depend on which island you put it on. Are you going to put it on an island with no workforce? Are you going to put it on Cornfall where, because of the town halls, you're going to have tons of free workforce? Also, are you going to put on an island where you're going to use your department for something else than production? Or are you going to put it on an island where you're going to have your department of labor with that bonus, but also with this policy, right, where we can choose? And for something like the champagne, I need to double check, but it's probably you probably want either the galvanic grants act, because you're gonna give electricity, which give you plus 50, and there's not that many items which will give you plus 50, or you'll probably use the 4th item if instead of the plus 50, you find a great item that is linked, that may give you something like a byproduct or something like this, which the plus 50 may not be able to give you. This is something you may not want me to do, but we'll see after we do this upgrade. Let's see also this one. Perfect. So that should be enough, yes, to unlock everything. As you can see, we need 2 new goods now in level 4. The typewriters and the beer tables. And as I said earlier, they get more and more complex along the way. So that's why also this item here that we're gonna put now really comes into play. Which one was it? Yeah, this one, the blue sky delivery. Because now we won't have to do the billiard table, for example, which I'm showing here, which is pretty complex, right? I mean, first of all, you do get the ethanol we were talking about, transforming it into the celluloid, but on top of that, also the felt, and the felt comes from the alpaca, which is not a far, like it's, you know, if we go back to the New World, the alpaca, we can see it here. It's one of those farms, not crop farms, but sort of animal farms, where you need to put the pastures, and these ones are always hard to optimize, right? It's similar a bit to something like the wood or the orchards. Given the shape and, you know, this radius that you're limited to, it's always quite hard to optimize them perfectly. You're always gonna lose space with those things. So this is the type of resources I always try to stay away from if possible. And that's why, you know, not having to make too much billiard table thanks to this item is once again, I think, a great thing. We may make 1 or 2 just so that I show you it's working. On top of that, also 350 artisans, that's quite hefty. That's definitely something you're gonna need to build on your production control. You won't be able to have, you know, 0 workforce on that one. So once again, a reason to not do it. The typewriters, if we do want to get, you know, to level 5 and to have, when we are at level 5, to have full investors, we don't really have a choice. We have to make them. You can see they're also quite complex, but at least the good thing is that there's a lot of typical old world production chains that
left ruins behind.
that are fairly easy, right? I mean, all of this is mines. So, you know, this is what I consider sort of low space, because the mines, you can't put houses there, and then these two, you can really put great items on them, so we may not need that much. Then similarly, I mean, the lacquer, for me the lacquer, for example, is a lot better than the celluloid, because celluloid also requires us 2 things in the New World, versus this is low space and this is old world. So that's gonna help with our production, with our problems in the New World, like the coffee and all those type of things. So let's start building this, and hopefully we're also making enough lacquer already, so that we may not have to build 1 more. Let's see, do I still have space here around it? Let's put it here. Up. 1 should be enough. Ah, nice, Fox. Yes, indeed, chemical factories can be clipped, and that is, you know, something I was describing in the stream a couple of days ago. Is I think in this DLC, with this DLC, you definitely want to use Cornfall once again as your production hub to make sure you clip as many of those big buildings as possible here. I just wanted to check one thing around how many we're gonna need. Where is it? Typewriters here. Okay, that's gonna be fine. Just 1 is already 4. Seems we're missing warehouses. That should be fine. Okay, so we do have a bit of lacquer. Brass we don't, and so brass we could also just simplify our life a bit, and for now get it with the BS. Of course, as I said earlier, that's not gonna be forever. It's just so that we can discover quickly all of this new DLC. But for our record, won't be using it. Okay, and just 3 minutes, so that's gonna be quick. And so actually, I think we're just gonna stay on, or maybe let me do another furniture store somewhere else for this Vanity Fair quest.
The people celebrate your leadership.
Because, I mean, this is something else that you may not know, is you can actually have many of those arcades in the same, let's say, area, right? So all of these houses will get the bonus from this one, which right now is on jewelry and light bulbs, and they will also get actually the bonus from this one, which will be pocket watches and jewelry when it actually starts, right? It just needs the resources to be delivered, and we do have definitely. Oh, we still don't know. Did I stop the cotton? Or is still not coming? Oh, it's still there, yeah. We just need to wait for it to come. Very soon, 2 minutes. So as I was saying, yeah, you can definitely stack them, and then they will start to all appear here, and you can of course also see them in your actual demand. You know, we can see it decreasing. We can't really maybe if I don't see it here. You know, if you've been producing for a long time, or if the demand for something has been a lot for a long time, and then you start putting it's called the bonus, a bonus like a furniture store bonus, then you will see that demand decrease on the graph that I've just shown. But that's basically a bit the only way to see that at this point. Or if you know another way to see that, right, to sort of see what would be your demand without those bonuses and what it is with those bonuses, I'm all keen to hear. Basically, you don't, because this is a production focus, right? You can see production over time and your buildings for production. You actually can't see the equivalent of this for the demand usually. I mean, you do see the demand here, and you know, you can actually turn it on and off actually, but you know, you don't get those details. So anyway, it will come now, just now. For the champagne, you know, of course, you can go Control T into your item and then start looking here. All of the items that do impact it. Personally, I don't love that view. If you followed me in my videos and my stream, you know that I actually prefer a lot the external asset viewer. I find it a lot easier also to filter. For those of you who don't know, let me actually show you the asset viewer, which is a very easy to use software. You can see it here and choose which building, right, to impact. So here it's a champagne cellar. You can sort by rarity, so that, you know, if you go to the bottom, these are all your legendary here. You can also, what's important is here, you can select what you want. For example, if I want decrease workforce or if I want extra good, this can be shown right away. Also for the elements or for the buildings that are both impacted by trade unions and harbor master office. So for example, the sand mines, this is quite useful because here you let me actually show you that sand mines. You can choose if you want harbor master or trade unions. So you know, that's, I think, quite useful to to first look, for example, at which item you're going to choose for the harbor master office, and then later on choose the item you're going to choose for the trade union. So the champagne cellar, if we go back here, obviously here there's only the trade union. The key question, as I said earlier, is where are you going to build it? given that we are going to add this, and of course you won't, sorry, I should have said it earlier, is you won't see it here in this asset viewer tonight because I haven't updated it since the new DLC. So this new item we talked about earlier for the ethanol production won't be there. But given we know we're gonna want to use that item, I probably want to do that on Cronfall so that I can have probably a fourth item to use there. And then we can start looking a bit, for what we want. Again, what because it is Cronfall, I probably don't need to focus too much on the workforce. So actually, I'll probably just go to productivity, which is here, and just say which one are the one that gives the most, right? So 50, pretty good. This one actually only works. Oh, 10 coffee, yeah, that's not that much. Then ferrous, of course, 50 also. So we already have two that are 50. This one is 40. This one is also 40. There's quite a few that have very high productivity boost, as you can see. So we're going to be able to boost that quite a bit. And by now, we almost missed that.
A bit of a coup.
This is our new. Somebody didn't like it. It seems that's not nice. That was. Oh, we need to find it.
Time's a wasting.
Every
poster that's been got at is a dent in our profits.
Yeah, I saw one heading down the docks. Among them, you find a sizable fake mustache. Ooh. Okay, what am I supposed to do now? Someone nearby could identify those codes. Someone with a mustache. We'll need to be more specific. Feeding the birds. Okay.
So good to
Where are the
see
birds?
you, Uncle.
Anybody has seen the birds? Do tell me. Oh yeah.
The fire left ruins
Looking
behind.
for me is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Give up and go back to sleep in your furniture store. Okay. So I guess we have to go back to the furniture store. Is it this one or that one? I need to go in first person mode or something.
Oh no!
Time is running out.
The upholstery is torn. Think they'll give me a discount?
This one. Oh, there's one thing here. That's not my furniture store, that's mine. Anyway, a fellow with red and white paint. You say, yeah, I saw one heading down. No, that's what I only saw. My bad. Anybody knows what I'm supposed to do? Select the corresponding item. Look out for the blue item. Doesn't really help. Oh, let's just go here. Nothing else here. That's not great. That's always what happens during when you stream, I guess, is pressure stream getting to you. Let's go quickly first person mode.
They're to arrive at 7, and we're still
This
4
has
warm-up
nothing
chairs
yet.
short.
Oh, that's Father Christmas. Wait, is that somebody else? No, it's the newsboy. Oh, okay, I was.
I really need to think about it.
Take the pain, this is all futile. Enjoy your shadow victory while it lasts. Angry Walker.
Angry worker you caught, was it? Predictable. But I have half a mind to thank him for his
Positive
work pro
buzz.
bono.
Maybe that
Worked
was a
wonders
marketing
for
stunt.
The vanity
I
screen
can
with
see,
the red
yeah.
and white logo
Please
is the
do
top
that.
of the town.
Okay, and let's get to
I
level
decided
5,
to
ladies and
follow
gents.
their model. I
The
made that
highest
graffito
skyscrapers.
our new
And you can
brand
see the
logo.
difference. This is a normal investor house.
You really came through for us with these
This is
posters.
the
I
level
knew you
5.
would. Here's an
Right.
original for you to keep.
Quite the difference.
Your
I think
design,
also
after
let's
all.
get a quick look in first person mode. Yeah, we can't even see the sky anymore. Too high.
This weird loser's really obsessed with you. I mean,
But
I'm impressive.
yeah,
Takes a
that's
lot
a
of
good
work to
job.
look like this.
Once again, I'm pretty happy with this new DLC. This is really cool. Even, I mean, for beauty builders, you can do some pretty interesting things when you see all of this, especially when you know that you can click here to change a bit the skins and all of that of each of the levels. You have the foundation here, you know, we can change. As you can see, it's just that level that's changing. Then this one, you know, and this one too, and of course when it's level 5, all levels. So there's really a lot of
Assiduous as always. I too am rather swamped with
variety
work.
that we can introduce here. We have now unlocked the drugstore. That's the space we have here.
The museum's
We've also
new
unlocked the
exhibit
babies,
was rather
or the toys.
ill-received by my patrons.
See, that was
See you
the
see me
production
there,
chain that
turn
was
red.
on
Face
the
cream
dev blog.
with
Pretty
some
impressive,
whitener
because we are gonna need
ease
both
their antiquated
lacquer
standards.
and celluloid, which both of them require ethanol. So once again, while I think we're gonna need quite a bit of ethanol, and on top of that, another one that I told you earlier I don't love is the alpaca farm in Tokyo. So this one's definitely a hard one. The violin too we unlocked. Good thing about the violin is similar to the beer table. This item here makes it that we don't need it, or we are gonna need a lot less. Plus it's also not the hardest one, as you can see. Furnace and all of this. And lastly, we have the Skyline Tower Foundation that is almost unlocked at 25. So is there actually any that we can? I think that's level 3. So that's not gonna go. We need to wait just a bit for that. And let's do them so that we have. The good thing is, because I was producing so many elevators at the beginning, I'm able to do that without waiting for elevators. And now, you know, with no panorama effect is 175. That's pretty nice compared to the 50 that was, you know, without items. We get it there, for example. It's 50, 175, and that's without the panorama effect. Once again, we really do need to optimize that as much as possible. It's a full plan. Let's put it here, for example, if I put it there. Let's see. Yes, perfect. You know, we go to 325 for each of the champagne, cigars, chocolate. I don't know, folks, if you were there earlier when I said it. Just something I did discover today is you and I were discussing how the chocolate may be useless. Maybe we sort of ignore the chocolate because it's only 2 investors, but actually no, when you have the panorama effect, it's 27 investors for the chocolate. So I think we're gonna need to do chocolate to get there. It's actually more important, you know, at that level to do chocolate than to do, for example, toys, which is only 15, or the drugstore, which is only 5. But once again, for the drugstore, we do get the bonuses, so that's why we're gonna do it. Or the violin is only 5, for example. And we can also see that with these items we have right now, and just offering everything that's level 4, not level 5, we're making pretty decent money. That's pretty good. Now, taking a quick look at the drugstore, maybe some of you haven't seen it before, haven't seen the effects that we can gain from it. There's 5 items as always, 3 that are sort of base game, 1 that is linked to the Arctic, and 1 linked to M-Pesa. Actually, with 2 M-Pesa resources, and really linked to the Scholar once again, so we can sort of ignore it. What we don't want to ignore is, of course, something like this one, because it's 2 of the population goods, and it's a pretty good number, 25% for the carriages, steam carriages. That's pretty good. On top of that, I mean, the lacquer, of course, is not the easiest, but the other 2 are fine, because this is fish oil and this is coconut oil. But if you remember what we said before, using this item here, we're not gonna need coconut oil, because coconut oil is replaced, and I don't know if we've unlocked it, but basically will be replaced, if I'm not mistaken, by tallow. We haven't unlocked it. What do we need to do to unlock it? We need to give 2 space to engineers, and then we'll have some new tasks. Okay, so let's do that ASAP, actually. Yeah.
A dandy choice.
And why tallow? Why am I happy with tallow? Because let's go back to the new world. Which island? I think it's this island, actually. Look here. All of these fish oil factories here, they are actually producing tallow 1 out of 4, and here tallow 1 out of 5. So I'm producing quite a bit of tallow and quite a bit of fish oil, once again on sort of low space anyway, because it's the harbor area. Can't put houses, I can't put coffee on the sea. So I'm quite happy to be using lipstick. The only, once again, you know, challenging one is gonna be the lacquer, which does require a few more elements, and is not, is not really optimized, let's say. So we're gonna need the ethanol and also the resin, which is gonna take space. But still, pretty good deal, considering the, once again, 25% on steam carriages and 5% on light bulbs. That's not negligible at all. Okay. Let's see, do we have any... Perfect. And here it is. The Skyline Tower Foundation is unlocked. As you can see, there is the small bus stop icon. So it will be one of the goods or one of the needs that helps fill your hotels. So it's good to know. You can build one per island. I honestly at this point have no idea if it is good or not in terms of min-maxing. I haven't thought about it. The key thing, you know, close your ears if you don't want to hear spoilers, but basically the key thing to put population into it is to have all of the different recipes. So it's not just 3, you don't need just 3 of these, you need many more of these to actually get to a full population of 4,000 or 4,005 as a maximum. So that's why it may not be that interesting. And to unlock this second level, we're actually gonna need 40. So I think indeed this is a good time soon to end the episode, unless you know, anyone has any questions, thoughts. Also, don't hesitate to share either in the chat now or later in the comments what you may be interested in seeing soon, either in a video or recorded video or in the next stream. As I said, maybe tomorrow, maybe on Saturday, I'm not sure yet exactly. I'll try to give a lot more notice to everyone on my channel. At the same time, YouTube is not really great at sharing those notifications with everybody, so don't hesitate also to join my Discord community to be able to see those news come in. Okay, and thanks to everybody who joined tonight. Thanks for all of the likes. Thanks folks also for sharing a lot of your thoughts on the chat. It was great to see you and to hear that. I really do hope you're going to be able to fix your save as soon as possible. But at least now that Wii mode is working again, that's going to, I think, help us be able to test a lot more things quickly, which is important and which is what we want to do. Oh, sorry, maybe last thing to do before finishing this episode, let's make sure we have a level 3 engineers. Skyscraper, as you can see, will require typewriter, the drugstore, and the violin. And with an intense panorama effect, here is getting to 208. Given that hi Migo, well, I think we are actually probably going to end the stream soon. I don't know if you're just joining now, but don't hesitate maybe in that case to watch the recording at your own speed, and don't hesitate to share any comments below. You know, if you have any questions or thoughts, I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, so there's this bonus residence here, so if you take it out, you will get 200 with the intense one once again, right? So it's 200 versus 300 for
With the expected height of the
investors.
Skyline Tower, we must assume that any
And
assets will be of proportional
This is a
magnitude.
quest that's
A risk
starting
assessment is
for
vital in our
the
reaction.
Skyline Tower, and the important element here to know if you're trying to do it on your save is that there is actually an achievement linked to it. Organize a plan B with Miss Jenny during the Skyline Tower. Later save and stories. So basically, to get that one, you need to be safe. You need to not try to go too quickly. You need to some safety mechanism, let's say. I won't give you all of the details tonight. Maybe that will be obviously, I think, one of the big focus of our next episode. Finish that tower and also continue to share with you my thoughts on what's the best items, also the panorama effect, what we're gonna want to do to maximize it, and how to get some of those complex production, efficiently. I think definitely the champagne sort of trick to get ethanol is something I want to look at very closely soon. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining and for all of your comments and likes. And it was great to see everyone, and I hope you had a good time and hope to see you next time.